So let's talk about predicting the future of your business. No, not with a crystal ball, but with something called simulation modeling. We're going to dig into a tool called SIMUL8 that lets you build, well, a virtual copy of your entire operation. This way, you can test out those huge ideas, see what happens, and make the right call, all without any of the real-world risk.
I mean, think about it. You've got this incredible, game-changing idea. The only problem? Actually doing it is super expensive, it's disruptive. How can you possibly be sure it's going to work? This is a huge challenge for pretty much any organization, where just one wrong move could cost a fortune and set you back for months.
And this isn't just some abstract idea. We're talking about real, high-stakes decisions. Things like completely redesigning a factory floor for a new product, or overhauling an entire supply chain. Or imagine you're in a hospital and you discover that just reallocating 2 nurses could slash ER wait times by 30%. You don't find that out by guessing. You find it out by testing.
And that gets us to the heart of the problem, uncertainty. In any system that's even a little bit complex, a small change over here can cause these totally unexpected ripple effects over there. It makes every big decision feel like a gamble. But what if you could take that gamble out of the equation?
Well, that's exactly where simulation comes in. The best way to think of it is like your own private virtual sandbox. It's a totally safe place where you can build things, break them, and perfect your process without any of the real-world consequences.
At its core, that's what simulation modeling is all about. You're creating a digital twin of your operation. It's a perfect copy that lives inside your computer, letting you play out all these different what-if scenarios to see what happens before you spend a single dime in the real world. And you know, the concept itself is surprisingly simple. Just picture a basic flowchart, right? You've got your boxes and arrows mapping out a process. Simulation software basically takes that flat, static drawing and makes it come alive. It becomes a dynamic, animated model that's driven by your actual data and all its variability. So how do you actually build one? Let's take a look at how a tool like SIMUL8 works, because it's really designed to make this whole thing pretty straightforward, even if your operation is incredibly complex. So building a simple model is really just about dragging and dropping a few key objects. You've got a start point. That's where things like raw materials or patients come in. Then there's a queue, which is just a line where things might have to wait. The activity is where the actual work gets done, and time passes. And finally, the endpoint, where everything leaves the system. It's amazing how many real-world processes you can map out with just those 4 blocks.
And once it's built, you just press play. But here's the really cool part. You're not watching it happen in real time. A powerful simulation engine lets you blast through weeks, months, or even years of your operations in just a few seconds. You get to see the long-term impact of your idea, like instantly.
But of course, the real world is messy, right? It's complicated. That simple 4-step process is a fantastic starting point. But the real magic happens when you start layering in all that realistic detail.
And this is where the serious power comes from. You can go from that simple, straight line to a really sophisticated model that has branching paths, different staff schedules, machine breakdowns, and all the complex rules that actually run your business. You're not just guessing anymore. You're building a true digital copy of your reality.
The philosophy here is really smart. It's about building a model that's as simple as possible, but as complex as necessary. You only add the detail you absolutely need to answer your specific question, which keeps everything efficient and focused.
Now, what if you don't actually know all the complex rules that are driving your process? This is where things get wild. Instead of you having to manually figure out every little detail, you can just feed your raw data right into SIMUL8. Its machine learning algorithms will go to work and automatically discover the hidden patterns and relationships for you.
The impact of this is just massive. It makes your model way more accurate because it's built on hard evidence, not just assumptions. It saves you tons of time on manual analysis, and it makes your model so much easier to maintain. When your process changes, you just feed it the new data, and the algorithm retrains itself.
Okay, so you've built this incredibly accurate, dynamic model of your business. What's the payoff? Let's talk about the real-world impact of turning all this data into confident, evidence-based decisions. Get this, over 70% of Fortune 500 companies use this exact approach. 70%. And why? Well, because it works. When you're operating at that scale, you just can't afford to rely on guesswork. Making big calls based on proven, simulated data isn't just a good idea. It's absolutely essential. The benefits are super clear.
You wipe out risks by testing ideas in the virtual world first. You uncover inefficiencies that can lead to huge cost savings. And because you've got this visual, animated model, it's so much easier to get everyone on board, from the frontline staff to the board of directors. It really helps build a culture where it's safe to experiment and innovate.
And that part about getting everyone to buy in, that's crucial. Modern tools like SIMUL8 Studio even lets you publish your simulations online as a web page. That means anybody on any device can jump in, play around with the model, change variables, and see the results for themselves. They don't need any special software or training. It makes the whole decision-making process truly collaborative.
So this all brings us to one final question, and this one is for you. If you had a perfect, risk-free virtual copy of your own process, what is that one big what-if question that you've always wanted to ask but never could? With simulation, you could finally find the answer.